what is normal? How do we really define normal? I was at a get together with a bunch of women on the weekend, and we were talking about hormones and health and life and everything else. And someone asked this question, and I thought it was quite remarkable that she did, because I think in our society now, so many things that happen on a regular basis, we term them normal. And I think that what is dysfunction is sometimes just really blown over because it's been the repetitive pattern. It's been the way that things always were. But I wanted to come on today to talk a little bit about what normal should really look like and what we should be expecting. You know, I think in our society, we see a lot of what's abnormal online and through social media and other places, but really it comes down to what the fundamentals are, what the human body was designed to do from a physiology perspective, and also how the human body was meant to feel. So in the female context, let's look a little bit at that. So number one, let's look at menstrual bleeding, because a lot of women will come in to see me and I always ask about their periods. What is their flow like? So number one, the menstrual cycle is meant to come about once a month. So every 28 days roughly. So some women, this can be 24 up to 35 days. But if your cycles are beyond that, if you're only having a period, say every 2 or 3 months, that's not normal. If you're skipping a bunch of months at a time, that's not normal, okay? Because there's something underlying that's going on. So the woman that was in the program, she had very irregular periods for many years, and then she had problems getting pregnant, infertility, and that could have been linked back to much earlier because she wasn't having regular cycles. So number one is, how regular is your cycle? So number two, what is the bleeding and the flow like? So most of us, we're using pads or tampons or some type of menstrual cup. So usually with a pad or tampon, you're going to change that every couple of hours, or a cup, usually you can change that once a day or every 12 hours. But if you're having overflow, if you're having to use a super tampon on and changing that every 2 to 3 hours, if you're soaking through that super tampon, if you're getting up in the middle of the night and you have to wear a tampon plus a pad to go to bed, if you're leaking out onto your bed sheets, that's not normal. If you're flooding through and you have to be always worried when you're going to work that you have to take a spare change of undies or a spare change of pants, then that's not normal, okay? And these are things that we have to say, we need to investigate what's going on, and you need to advocate for yourself, because many physicians don't always dive deep into this question unless you bring it up to them. As physicians, we're often very pressed for time in short medical visits, and so you need to say, this is what's going on for me, and we need to get to the bottom. Because we know if bleeding is heavy, then it can contribute to anemia. There can be other things that are going on in the uterus that can be abnormal. So you need to speak up and be an advocate for yourself. And you need to begin to understand what is normal, kind of what's going on in my body, what I should be expecting. So then we think about, so that's the bleeding part of things and the cycle part of things. Then what about things like our bowels? Now, I know a lot of times we don't like to talk about this. This is social media. Who wants to talk about their poo? But it's a fundamental question I ask everyone, because I truly believe that a bowel movement is like a vital sign. So when you come to see me, I talk about your blood pressure, your heart rate, but we have to talk about our bowel movements. So what is normal? Basically, having a bowel movement once or twice a day that looks like a snake. So you should be able to sit on the toilet within a short period of time, that should come out. If you have to sit and strain, if you have little rabbit pellets, that's not normal. If you're going to the toilet and it's floaty and it doesn't want to flush, that's not normal. If there's pieces of stuff in your stool that are undigested bits of food, that is not normal. Or the other is not going. And I think this is one that I see normalized maybe more than any other, is people that are constipated for years and they begin to believe it's normal. So I have many patients and they go every 3-4 days, sometimes every 5 days. And they say, well, that's how I've always been. And maybe that's how they've been, since they were a teenager, but that's still not normal. That definitely tells us that there's dysfunction going on in the system. Again, a bowel movement is a vital sign. So what does it mean if you're not going regularly? Number one, the gut, the bacteria that live inside us, they're not in good balance. We know that. but that's going to contribute to a lot of things. It can contribute to pain. You're not detoxifying your body, so you can be holding on to toxins. It can contribute to things like weight gain because you're not able to clear. It contributes to your insulin resistance, for example, if you're having chronic constipation. A lot, again, coming back to the microbiome. It can contribute to things like arthritis, or skin rashes and infections. Because if you're not clearing, there's something that's going on in your body that the regular detoxification process is out of balance. So begin to think about, what are your bowel movements like? And then let's talk about sleep. So what does normal sleep look like? Okay. So I've always been a good sleeper, right? There was a little time when I was 41, 42, when I started having hot flashes and night sweats. I knew those clearly weren't normal. But there's a lot of women that have had dysfunctional sleep for years and years, and now they believe it's what they call normal. So should sleep look like? Well, number one, when you go to sleep at night, within 10 to 15 minutes, you should be able to fall asleep. You shouldn't have to listen to anything. You shouldn't have to take a sleeping pill. Your body should just naturally go to sleep. And then you should sleep through the night, and you should get up, 6, 7, 8 hours later. That's what normal sleep is. If there's anything less than that, that is dysfunctional sleep. Now, a lot of you may have children, and of course it's going to be, you have to get up at night when the kids get up. And sometimes, of course, this can put you into this cycle where your body is, very sensitive to sounds, and that you do have to get up if you hear a little sound or anything at night. But that's not what the body is designed to do. We are meant to sleep soundly. Sleep is ultimately so important. It's one of the first things that I work on from a lifestyle perspective, because again, at nighttime, our glymphatics, now this is the flow through our immune system, and our cerebrospinal fluid is activated. And we need 4 deep cycles of sleep to get that to where it needs to be. So we know that if you don't sleep well, you're going to have greater risk of some type of immune diseases. Now, this can be anything from arthritis, autoimmune conditions, thyroid. It can be multiple sclerosis, greater risk of Alzheimer's disease, and also greater risk of diabetes and blood sugar problems if you're not sleeping well. So think about that. If you've been on sleeping medications, these are not normal for you to take. I still prescribe sleep medications sometimes. When people are traveling, if there's jet lag, if there's been a really big stress recently, there can be times that sleeping meds are needed 3-4 days, maybe at a time, maximum. If you're on medications longer than that, this is not normal, and there's something underlying that's going on in your system. And until you get the bottom of that, then you're just masking things that are going on. So if you're taking, the medications we typically see, Zopiclone or Imavane, some people are taking amitriptyline just to help them sleep. Sometimes things like Seroquel, or temazepam, Restoril, even Ativan to sleep at nighttime. We know that this is going to have a long-term impact and consequences on your system. And then the last thing is, what is a normal mood? So a lady asked this question, and she said, well, I don't know what anxiety is. Tell me. I said, well, if you're feeling overwhelmed, if you're feeling like you can never get everything done, if you're feeling like your body is having some palpitations, then this is what anxiety is. Because again, we should be able to move through our day. And of course, we all have a little bit of stress. And that's a normal part of being alive. Our body is designed to handle that. And sometimes a little bit of time pressure can be good because it can gauge us into movement. But if you're feeling that on such a regular basis that you're having this feeling of dread or overwhelm, or if you're getting anxiety and like a panicky feeling or a panic attack, then that's not normal. That's what happened to me back when I was 41. And then I had never had that in my life at all. And at the time I was blaming it, it wasn't blaming, it was part of the stress that was going on in my life and hormonal changes. But those are feelings of mood. And those are things that we can't just begin to continue to normalize, because this is not optimally what life is. So what is life meant to be? Life is meant to be here. Look at this. We've got palm trees blowing in the breeze, right? We're going with the flow. This is what Mother Nature is meant to do. We have flowers. They will come out, Then when the hurricane comes, they die, but they'll come back again. So we're meant to have seasons where we do feel a little bit of stress, but then that will go. But if you feel like you're living on the edge all of the time, then that's going to have its impact on your body, your immune system, and ultimately just the impact on you enjoying your life. Because life is meant to be enjoyable. We're meant to spend time with family and friends and just to have fun. You know, our purpose really that I feel of why we're here is to love and to share love with others. So if you're not having that level of enjoyment and life is really getting you down right now, then it's really important to say, yeah, this is not normal. I've been pushing through for too long. I really want to begin to enjoy myself. So I hope these ideas of what normal may be have been helpful for you today. If you have any questions or comments, please jot them down below. And again, once again, it's here to bring you back a little bit more to yourself. The more that you understand who you are, what's going on in your body, the more that you can go and advocate for your health, whether it's to a physician or a counselor. But I want to put you once again into the driver's seat, and I want you to be flying that plane nice and high, soaring above the clouds. I hope you have a great day, everyone. Bye for now.